Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Janine McGowan, and this is my Flosstube, where I chat about whatever comes to mind. So here we are. One of the first things that comes to mind is thanking so many of you for reaching out to touch base with us because of the big recent fires in the area. We were all fine. They were very large fires, and they were quite a bit closer to us than I would like, but we never hit the yellow zone at our house, so that was good. For those of you who have seen my entertainment videos at the Jingle Ball, you know I go out to the Animal Ark, our local rescue and rehab. They did have to evacuate all of their animals, and they're just opening up again, I think in about 2 weeks, as they're slowly bringing the animals back in. So you can imagine what it must have involved to move all of those animals out. But their staff is all safe. They did sadly have one animal pass away from the stress of the move, but everyone else is safe, and I will be out there in a couple of weeks to go do the entertainment video. I don't know if I've told you already, but I'll be doing it for the second time because I went out to meet with Johnny the Desert Tortoise and had an absolutely wonderful meeting with her, and didn't have working sound for it. So we're going to go do it again. But more fun for me. I get to go out there twice, and I'm just very glad that she has made it through the fire safely. It's quite a big adventure for her. All right, jumping right into stitching in action. First up, we have Robin. Robin stitched Seasons of the Heart, Hearts for Pam. And this is especially meaningful for her. She said she was just browsing online and she found this. And she had a cousin named Pam who loved all things to do with Australia. And she and Robin used to bond over just collecting Australian things and referencing Australian things and loving them. And so she has stitched this in memory of her cousin. And I think it came out beautifully. She used 20 count Zweigart Aida light blue fabric and the called for cottage garden threads, which of course come from Australia. So thank you so much, Robin, for sharing this and for letting it be part of some of your wonderful memories with your cousin Pam. Next up, we have Jillian. I didn't quite yawn yet. Jillian stitched Trunktown Autumn. She said that her finishing is improved, and I have to say it looks impeccable. I don't know what it's improved from because it looks perfect. So she used the floss from her stash. I think it looks wonderful. And she used green velvet for the top and the base of this drum. The original was done for a class, and so I got a fabric from Spoonflower, which was a velveteen that was printed with tree rings. And then for the other ones in the series, I've just used, I think, Nutmeg velveteen from Lady Dot. But I think the green looks really lovely as well. So thank you, Jillian, for sharing that. As always, if you've stitched a blue flower design, I would love to see pictures so that I can share them here. And one day I will get the website caught up so the Stitching in Action actually features all of these great designs. And you can look there and be inspired by other stitchers as well. On to what I'm stitching. This might be one of the last videos where I just have to say I'm model stitching for Jingle Ball. I'm really looking forward to the end of model stitching for Jingle Ball, and not just because I have deadlines and I need to be done, but also because I'm going to the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit in a couple of weeks. And you know, when you go to a retreat and you go to a great shop, you're always just inspired by what other people are stitching and you want to start some new things. And I really want to be done with my homework so I can start something fun, or at least stitch on my Dunkel Memorial Sampler, do some personal stitching again. So I am very much looking forward to that. Although I am really enjoying the Jingle Ball piece that I'm stitching on. I have to confess, I had one of the model stitchers come to my rescue on the first one that I was working on, and she's finishing it up for me because I was taking too long. So I'm working on the second one. But yeah, there it is. As fun as it is, it is early, but it's just the talking and the nerves that make me yawn. So anyway, as fun as it is, I would like to be back to personal stitching again soon. On to Stash Spotlight. This is, I don't know if it's it's not really a cheat, but this is something that is just in my stash very briefly. And I bought this specifically to be a prize, at the Acorns and Threads retreat in a couple of weeks. This is a sewing kit from Cohana, and it's in the shape of an apple. Isn't that so cute? And I've unpacked it all so you can see everything that's in it. And like I said, it'll be a prize. So in a couple of weeks, you'll get a chance to win this. It's got a little grass inside, but inside the kit is this little wooden squirrel, and he's holding a special pin that has an acorn on top of it. It's hard to see because it's very small. And get this teeny pair of Cohana snips in a little red leather case, and just the tiniest little bobbin with a needle and some black and white thread. So it's a little miniature apple sewing kit. I thought of getting one for myself, but I thought I would just look at the apple and never actually use it. So I'm gonna be good and just give it to someone else who can enjoy it, and it seemed to really fit with the theme. So that's my briefly mine stash spotlight before it goes to a new home. On to World Around. This time it is dahlias. Now, this is one of my husband's favorite flowers, which I didn't know until we got a proper garden and started growing flowers, and I found out he really loves dahlias. And now we have these two really chaotic cut flower beds in our yard, and we do have some dahlias growing, so I thought it'd be a chance to learn about them. They are native to the mountains and plains of Central America. Let's see, they are the national flower of Mexico, and they grow from underground tubers, which were eaten as a food crop by the Aztecs. In fact, botanists apparently originally thought it was a food crop when it first came to Europe because of the edible tubers, but they weren't popular as food in Europe, never really took off. I read one source that said it tastes like a cross between a carrot and a potato, but I couldn't find anyone who tried it. I did come across a recipe for something like zucchini bread, but with dahlia tubers, but again, I haven't tried it. The Aztecs also used dahlias to treat epilepsy. I'm not sure how. And they used the long hollow stem of the flower as, one source said, water pipes. They would have to be very large dahlia plants, or potentially very small water pipes, or straws, which makes a lot more sense. In slightly more modern times, before the discovery of insulin, diabetics were treated with Atlantic starch, which was extracted from dahlia tubers, and the petals have been used to treat dry skin and bug bites. They're part of the same family as sunflowers and daisies, and they were brought to Europe in the 1800s, which was one of the earliest plants to come from Mexico. Gardeners absolutely loved them. They were the favorite flowers of both Queen Victoria and Marie Antoinette. Sometimes in Europe they're called Georginas, but the name that we most commonly use now comes from the botanist Andreas Dahl, hence the dahlia. And the original name is the Acatli. Hopefully I'm saying that right. There are 42 different species of dahlias, but they can be combined into an incredible number of hybrids. So available dahlias today come in a size range from the teeny tiny palms up to the massive dinner plate dahlias. And I'll put in a picture with one of ours. It's supposed to be as big as your head. I think it is as big as my head. The tallest varieties can grow over 9 feet in height. I found several photographs of plants growing 9 feet in height. I found one source that said they can grow up to 6 meters, which would be more like 19 feet, but I couldn't find any pictures of that. They come in every color except blue, although of course hybridizers are working very hard to see if they can develop a blue dahlia, but no one has yet. They don't use scent to attract pollinators and instead rely on those amazing colors. So there you go, a little bit about the amazing dahlia flower. On to questions. Last video was about my shirt, so it was lovely to meet some fellow fans. So that was just a little bit of a curiosity there. Question this video is, do you watch Murder, She Wrote? This is one of my comfort shows, and it's a little bit funny because growing up, the time that Murder, She Wrote aired, and I used to get so frustrated with this. It aired, I don't remember the exact hours, but it started on the hour and it was an hour long, and our bedtime officially was on the half hour. And so I was allowed to watch half of it, and then I had to go to bed. And so very often I didn't know how the show ended up, but it's still one of my favorites, and I really enjoy watching it. I think I just get inspired by Jessica Fletcher. She's so kind and she's so brave, not fearless and not stupid, but she speaks up for herself and she's brave And I really like that about her. Plus, she goes all over and solves mysteries, which I also really like. So I was just curious whether that's true for anyone else. On to best things. I may have mentioned before, I have there's a local women's Facebook group for women-owned businesses. And recently someone posted that they do in-home alterations. So come to your house and do clothing alterations for you. And that has been just awesome because I tend to have a tough time finding clothes that fit me properly. They always need, a little tweak or a little something. And so this has been wonderful. This lovely lady has come to my home and I can try on my things, and she does all the measuring and the pinning, and then she just fixes it for me, and it's been bliss. So that's been a real win for me this past couple of weeks. On to giveaway. Last video, I said I've got 3 new releases, so 3 winners using the word candy, and the winners are, let me see if I can get these all right, at Haphazardous, that one was easy, at Nightmare Before Meg, also easy, although I fluffed it a little, and then here we go, at Jacqueline Liebfried 4691. So Jacqueline, sorry if I messed that up, but send me a message, any of you, with your either mailing address or email address, and if you want a mailed physical copy of any of my designs or an emailed PDF, and I will get that headed your way. On to give away this video. Now, as I may have mentioned a time or 50, I'll be going to the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit at Acorns and Threads here in the next 2 weeks. And I get to spend time with Beth Twist, the amazing Beth Twist. And so I thought it would be a good time to pick one of her fabulous designs for giveaway. So this is the French Flea Market Biscornu. And it's a little bit hard to see always, but you can see it has these beautiful blue flowers on the top, which of course I love, but the bottom is stitched to look like some of those beautiful vintage style French linens, and it's just a stunner. So if you use the word blue in your comment, I'll pick a winner from this one, and you will be able to have that in your stash to stitch right away or at some point in the future. On to announcements. It will be 3 weeks, at least until the next video, because in 2 weeks I'll be in Portland at the retreat. And then second announcement, it's almost time to submit videos for Jingle Ball class details. And I've taken comments before. I'm seriously considering just doing PDF classes and making it more of a choose your own adventure isn't quite right, but providing several options for fabrics, even some of the software snapshots using different backgrounds to help you choose, and just to make things easy for you and your shop to get supplies, because I know that can be one of the most stressful things for people, is trying to find the supplies, and for shops when they're suddenly like, why does everybody need this one thing that I don't have? So that way it might make it a little bit easier and more creative and fun for you. But if I do go that route, I'll probably also have some thread packs for the designs on the website, just in case you want to make it easy and get the threads, partially because they're smaller designs. And so especially one of them is using silks. That way you can get just the amount you need and not have to buy a bunch of silk. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. If you have strong feelings about it either way, let me know, but that's where I'm tending. So that's it for my announcements. Again, it'll be 3 weeks at least until the next video. If I'm going to see you in Portland, I am very excited about that. And there is a brief puppy video at the end, but thank you very much for spending time with me today. I hope you get to see a flower, even if it's not a dahlia, and I look forward to chatting with you again in a couple of weeks. Talk to you later. Bye.